Disclaimer: this video is for educational and entertainment purposes only. It does not constitute financial advice. We are not registered financial advisors.
So I'd like to welcome from Global X Canada, Jean-Christian Daigle. Come on up, my friend. Well, did I pronounce your name, JC? Good?
Yeah, actually, very well done.
'Cause I'm from Quebec. On fait-tu ça en français ou?
Ah, mais pourquoi pas? Ah? Oh, excellent. And I do go by JC, by the way, so you don't have to be forced to say John Christian. JC is fine.
So guys, for this panel, we have JC. JC works on the Global X covered call ETFs. He's a PM. So we're going to do some more fun technical questions. I know there's lots of fans of QQCL and USCL and CMCL, et cetera, et cetera. So I figure I show you the guy that's actually writing the calls, and his team, of course, that's generating that cash flow that we all love. So JC, introduce yourself to the audience, my friend. Tell me, how did you get your start in this industry? What made you decide, you know what, I'm going to manage billions of dollars for a living?
Yeah, that's a good question, actually. My background is actually in mathematics. So I did pure math degree. So for me, it just made sense to kind of keep going in the math world. And then, you know, as I entered the career path of finance, one of the aspects of it was derivative products, which is very math heavy, very math dependent. So I felt very at home in that environment. At first, when I joined the bank, I joined Scotiabank, not Global X, sorry. I used to be an employee of Scotiabank. I was in the risk management department, so well-versed in just risk management in general, both derivative products, also corporate lending, enterprise risk, all of the above, banks' capital ratios. So very well familiar with the banking industry as a whole. And then after that, I moved over to the options trading desk at Scotiabank. So that's where I picked up all of the derivatives experience. I was able to do ETF market making as well at Scotia. So as you can see, ETF market maker with options experience, it's kind of natural fit to be an options PM. So now I'm in the seat and loving every minute of it.
I always love when there's a math whiz working on these products. It just gives me confidence. If you don't mind asking, JC, I hope you don't mind. How old are you, my friend?
38 in the next couple of months.
38 in the next couple of months. Wow. Okay, cool. Young guy. All right, let's talk about some Global X ETFs. I always refer to Global X Canada as the kings of the indexes, right? You guys got a bunch of index versions, right? You got the regular one with the leverage, the covered calls and the leverage, the corporate class. And what I've noticed is, you know, we'll focus obviously more on the covered call ETFs, USCL, QQCL. I noticed that the performance is actually very, very similar to the underlying indexes themselves, which is absolutely incredible and definitely appreciated. Why is it so good? What's the magic sauce? And how would you rate your performance on those? You look at the indexes themselves to know if you guys are doing a good job. Tell me the whole mindset.
Yeah, for sure. So for us, we have a benchmarking approach. Even though it is an active fund, active implementation of the fund or the strategy, there is a benchmarking aspect to it where we look at a systematic approach for covered calls. One of the examples would be the SIBO buy-right indices. They're very well known in the industry. What they do is a similar strategy to us, where they write 50% of the options or 50% of the assets, and they also write at-the-money call options. So that mix alone means that we're very similar in nature, but given that we have a bit of that active twist to it, we have a little more flexibility with what we decide to do in the end. So for us, when we look at this buy-right index as the benchmark, how can we improve from that? And that really comes from flexibility of our decision-making, but also it's really what the market has to offer, right? It depends on the volatility levels, where the spots are moving. So very dynamic system in general. It's a very, very interesting space to be in, for sure.
Yeah, and I always laugh when people say, you know what, I'm just going to buy the index and write the call options myself. They think it's that simple. So why don't we talk a little bit about the actual work that goes into this? So you guys are not just writing one call a month on, you know, for USCL or QQCL, S&P, NASDAQ. You're not just writing one call a month and whatever. Tell me a little bit about rolling the calls. You do it every week. every 2 weeks? If you could give us some details without giving away your secrets, of
The
course.
secret sauce, yeah. So for us, we use a laddered approach. So what we really want is that smoothness, or the smoothness of the experience, right? So when you're looking at returns on a portfolio level, if the stocks are rallying really hard and you have a covered call, well, we have a bit of that capping of the upside, right? Because that's when we generate that premium. So when we're looking at the overall fund performance, it's always total return, not just, how much are you paying out, or what is the underlying assets volatility. You have to look at it as a holistic approach. And when we take on indexing, for example, you have that really stable, diversified asset base, that you can then generate the premiums that you can distribute out on a monthly basis. So the approach for us is sticking to the indices because they're well diversified. You don't need to go out and do it yourself. Now for the covered call aspect and the overwriting aspect, that gets a little tricky because that's the active part of the portfolio. You can't just buy a stock, let it go. If you have an option that matures every month, every week, every 2 weeks, you have to be there, roll it if it's in the money, or write a new one if it's out of the money, and you get to generate more premium. So that process on its own is very time consuming, and there's also a bit of expertise within that options market to know what prices you're getting, and also what is the efficiency of it, and at the end, how much premium you can generate yourself, right? There are a few extra commissions that you have to pay as a retail client that we don't on the institutional side, but I would say the biggest benefit would be on the lightly levered covered calls is the borrow rate that we have, right? So for us, borrowing that extra 25% to invest more in the covered calls becomes very efficient because of the rate we get, right? We get an overnight rate plus, call it 50 basis points or something like that in that area. While the retail lender, if they want to use their margin to borrow and invest, it's going to be a lot higher than that. So we get a lot of efficiency through institutional lending rates, and that really helps to, the performance of the fund in general.
Yeah, that's a good point about the rate. So I get, people ask me all the time, why don't you take leverage or borrow money? And I'm just like, why? You think you're going to get a better rate? You think I'm going to get a better rate than a 40 or 50 billion dollar firm? So that's great. Thanks for that explanation. Everyone's interested in distributions here. We all love them. We all rely on them. It pays our bills. It pays our vacations, etc. Let's stick with maybe USCL, QQCL. I think in terms of the indexes, they're maybe the favorites. Recently, for example, I know because I check every month, there's some little increases for those ones. So talk to me a little bit about how these distributions are decided. What would make you decide, okay, now we could raise it a little bit, maybe we need to reduce it a little bit? They're fairly consistent, but there's some variance sometimes. What goes through that process? Do you think of the end investor when you're deciding those distributions, and understand people are relying on these distributions?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the consistency of that distribution from a dollar perspective is important for the end investor. And that's one of the goals at Global X, is to create and generate the product that will be consistent through time, right? If we collect 10 cents 1 month of premium, we're not going to pay out 10 cents. If we collect 12, we pay out 12. No, we're going to find what the historical averages are, where we can generate consistently, sustainably through time, and get you that yield at the end of the day, what we can generate. Not trying to go for your 30s, 40s, 50% yields, because we know that it's not necessarily sustainable in the long run, right? And with a diversified index as your asset base, it's a little less volatile than the single names, right? So when you look at premium generation, you're not going to generate as much, but it's a little more diversified, so you have a little more safety net in terms of your underlying asset base. And that's kind of what we like to focus on. So we review these distributions on a quarterly basis, make sure that we generate enough premium to distribute out, but also as market conditions change, we can tweak as we go. The main factor, I guess, is, once again, consistency. We know that you guys want the same paycheck every month, every 2 weeks, and that our goal is to make sure that we can deliver that consistently.
Awesome. So very popular for the index-based covered call ETFs, but also commodities and resources. You guys have ENCL. Anyone have an ENCL fan, GLCL fan? Yeah, it's very popular for sure. So how are those managed differently from the index funds? Because these are not exactly indexes, or I think you have like your own Murray indexes, but these are stock picking basically. You're writing the options on the actual stocks, not on indexes. So what's the difference between how the index funds are managed versus the resource-based or sector-based, if you will, covered call funds?
Yeah, sure. That's a good question. I would say on the single stock side, there's a few more nuances that you have to look out for. One of them, anything corporate action related, earnings, dividends, things like that, you have to be wary of in terms of the option overlay, right? If you have to roll the options early because of one of those actions, it's something that's single stock specific, but not index as a whole, right? If an event happens on a single name, it has direct impact to it. If it happens within the index or on the name within the index, that diversification really absorbs some of that drawdown from a single name, and you won't see that big of an impact. So that's one of them.
Okay, cool. So CMCL, what I think is a very, very unique ETF. I definitely appreciate it. So let me just summarize this beauty in a few words, and you tell me if I got it right. So you have energy, Canadian oil and gas. You got gold, you got silver, you got copper, you got uranium, you got natural gas, you got lithium, all wrapped in one ETF. Just the producers, not the actual spot resources themselves. Covered call overlay, 25% leverage, all in one is in the actual name. Who came up with this amazing genius ETF? Was it you?
Oh, I wish it was. And I really wish it came in a dream too, but it did not. One of the things we look at is what are the investor needs, right? And one of them is, I think, commodities in a way. Commodities has been underinvested in a very long time, especially on the retail side. So bringing a product that is all-encompassing of the commodity markets is a great thing for the DIYs and institutions as well. For us, we decided to go the equity producer route, not necessarily the futures, because there is, I guess, the market for options for the covered call portion is much more sustainable in equities versus futures, a lot easier to manage and deal with as well. But also, you have that operational leverage that we think is key in the next few years, right? As we think the commodities are going to be continuing to be strong in the economy going forward, we think that having that operational leverage of the producers adds that little more upside that you would having the bullion or the futures contracts. So for us, that was our strategy. And the second piece to that is the all-in-one, is how do you determine how much proportion of each do you actually put in? How often do you rebalance? Who makes that decision, right? That's probably a question that all of you guys have. What we do is, once again, we follow an index, right? There's something called the BCOM, the Bloomberg Commodity Index. It's a well-known index in finance, but it is futures-based, right? So they use futures contracts of all the underlying commodities, wrap them together into one index. So what we do is we take that index, but instead use our equity producer funds, but use the same weightings, right? So that allocation comes from the Bloomberg Commodity Index, and that's what we track. So on a quarterly basis, we'll go through it, rebalance to the weights of those targets, so that we can keep managing that way. So we're not going around picking, we think gold is going to be better next year, silver the year after, this and that. No, we have a mandate to follow the index allocations, and we do that as well.
Honestly, I think it's one of Global X's best ETFs. Obviously, I'm biased just because I'm so lazy. I'm the laziest investor. Now I could get all the commodities all in one. I don't have to pick gold or silver or copper. Whoever invented that, I think, should be promoted right away. All right. Final question, JC. This is a little bit more personal, but you actually came in wearing a Global X shirt tonight, so
represent the brand.
Of course. I hope a lot of people came up to you and talked to you. I'm just curious, and hopefully you've met and talked to a lot of people already. How do you feel when like regular everyday people are really, really, really relying on these distributions? Do you feel a sense of responsibility personally when managing these ETFs? What do you think of when you go to the office? Do you think of the everyday investor, or are you just thinking kind of like a mathematician and just hitting your targets? I'm just curious of what a math whiz has to say.
Yeah, that's a good one. Luckily, the math side gives me more analytic thinking, less emotional, all of that, which is a huge plus in our industry. And being in the industry for 12, 15 years, I benefited a lot from that. Now, do I think of the end investor every time I make a decision in the portfolio? No, but I do know that it's your hard-earned dollars, it's your savings, it's your future, it's your retirement plan, right? So that is very important to me and our team. But also, we have skin in the game, right? I invest in our own funds. Friends and families invest in our own funds. So we do have, the end investors, best interest at heart, right? We have a fiduciary duty from the regular's perspective, but that's not enough. We go a step further. We want to make sure that the end user, the end client, really has the best experience. And for us, once again, it's sticking to the indices where they're a little more stable through time, less volatility, but that's kind of the product that we stick to. More diversification, it's institutional focused, but we like to offer it out to everyone, right? So that's kind of how we approach things. So yeah, we do think of you guys, but not directly, very indirectly, right? We don't want to get emotional, make wrong decisions, so we keep it analytical, try to optimize the portfolio as much as we can, and give you the best experience in the end.
Well, I think you guys do a great job, and it's fun to see put a face to all those distributions. So thank you so much, JC. That was very insightful. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, before we continue, I just want to give a special shout out to Global X, to Renee, to Stephanie, to Rohit. You guys have been a very staunch supporters of us, and Eric and I just want to thank you. And you guys were also wanted to be the main sponsor right away, so without knowing anything. So thank you, and Renee, next time I promise no Friday, okay? Thank you. Love you.